So, whenever you design a new product, especially if it's disruptive, you're going to run into a lot of limitations. Technology problems, bugs, delays, missing data or missing users. Now, the more value you have, the more problems your users will let you get away with. The issue is that if you have design problems in their experience, they'll abandon you before they figure out your value. So that's where the mullet comes in. For those of you who haven't been around in the 80s or certain parts of the US today, a mullet is a haircut that offers business up front and a party in the back. The mullet approach to product design offers you delighting the users up front while keeping all of your limitations in the back. We'll talk about a few examples and ways to try to approach this. So one of the most basic things you start with is use what you have. For those of you who remember MacGyver, and basically, a very common set of problems are related to delays and network connectivity issues. So by anticipating them and being proactive, you can actually cache and preload things so that when your users get to that point, they see an instantaneous content and feel like it's very fast. That's one of the basic things. Instagram is great at these kinds of tricks, and another trick they have is an optimistic UI, where when the user presses an action, the UI tells them it's also already successful, even before they synced it to the server, being optimistic about it. Another totally different way to look at your limitations is to just treat them as part of your product requirements. I was working a few years ago on a fitness experience when people didn't have data plans yet. So we actually designed an experience that showed them the UI every 3 days and assumed that within 3 days they'll connect to Wi-Fi and will upload stuff in the background. We also were trying to do accurate activity recognition, which didn't work well with those phones of those days with lots of bugs, battery issues. It was hard to get the users to hold the phone in the right way for us to accurately get it. So what we ended up doing is a high-level score of your activity level that was very easy to score, very easy to collect, and not killing the battery, and the users could have the phone anywhere, even in their backpack. We could still tell if you're walking more than taking the elevator or things like this, which was great for our experience. Still with fitness, another type of limitation can actually come from the outside world and the environment where your product lives, like winter. So winter offers you limitations in weather, shorter days, and lots of heavy family meals. So when you go out running after that heavy family meal in January, you're going to be very far away from your record in the summer, which will be demotivating. Strava caught on to the fact that the Gregorian calendar is really nicely aligned with that dip in fitness. So by resetting your personal annual score, your first run is already a record, and your second run is a better improvement on that record. So they're using the limitations and the solutions from the environment. Have you ever thought about why Google Cardboard doesn't have a headband? So Cardboard tries to run on as many phones as possible with lots of processing power and graphics abilities. You should also know that with VR, if things are jittery, people get motion sickness. By not having a strap, they're forcing the user to hold it with both hands and move slower in the speed of their torso or their shoulders, which is much slower than the speed of your head moving. So by using one limitation, you solve a worse one. Form informs the function. Now, a totally different approach is to get your users to help. If you design your experience carefully enough, you can have your users do your chores and enjoy them and solve all your limitations as you progress. A common problem is getting to critical mass. And a common solution is finding value for a single user, like Delicious did, where users started by going into saving their own bookmarks to Delicious, and over time, the value grew and the network effect kicked in. So like hair, your product grows with time. Remember this. You can take this approach and even do a totally different experience for early adopters. Waze had a data problem, a data limitation, where they didn't have enough roads in the beginning. So they had a whole experience around a game-like experience where their first users were driving through roads like a Pac-Man and eating up power-ups on new roads, which motivated them to help map the system. Once that was done, they throw away that experience. You can even take that solution and productize it. Luis van Aan has been great about taking these very hard problems and making fun user experiences while they learn a new language or play a game. They're actually solving hard problems like translating the internet or tagging photos and images. As you see, the mullet is a very powerful tool, and we have to treat it respectfully. We have to remember that our goal is to delight users, not to scam them, and not to make ourselves look better, right? And some companies tend to forget that. A few examples, Ashley Madison had a female number problem, and so they used bots and fake accounts to try to solve that. Volkswagen had a technology problem, and their workaround was to find a detector for being tested, and they're still screwing their users. So don't screw your users. Some other takeaways are that you really have to understand your limitations. You have to understand your users and your motivation, and you have to understand the milieu, the environment in which your product lives in order to design the best product experience, which is not necessarily always the best engineering experience. Now, as you see, this is a very powerful tool. It can be applied to other domains as well, like giving talks. When you need to give a talk about a topic you have no idea about, pick the right experience that you'll still get applause at the end, like 20 slides, 5 minutes, and no audio questions at the end. Thank you very much.